China, Qing Dynasty, 1850. The Guangdong general's surname was Su. General Su was a hereditary official position. General Su had a son named Su Chan. Su Chan was his only son. General Su favored Su Chan. Su Chan did not like to study. He only loved kung fu and martial arts. Every day, he just drank and visited prostitutes. When Su Chan was 25 years old, he couldn't write his own name yet. Because Su Chan could not write his name, he was turned into a beggar by the emperor. This is the storyline that follows. For now, let's not talk about it. Although Su Chan does not like to read and write, but he inherited the tradition and talent of the Su family in martial arts. His martial arts skills ranked first in Guangdong. On his 25th birthday, Su Chan. A banquet was held to invite people from the kung fu world. It was a lively party. The banquet was held in a brothel. Su Chan used gold to make the invitation. General Su saw the invitation made of gold. Not only did he not criticize Su Chan, he even praised Su Chan as a genius. He said that Su Chan's invitation was very tasteful. Su Chan's teachers saw it and he shook his head again and again. Although Su Chan is the son of an extravagant official family, but he was very caring, he was kind to the poor. When Su Chan held his 25th birthday banquet in a brothel, an old beggar came to the banquet. Su Chan's servant wanted to drive the beggar away. When the servant was about to hit the beggar, he was stopped by Su Chan. Su Chan invited the old beggar to eat, drink, whoring and gambling. Let this old beggar become the emperor for a day. This good deed of Su Chan, unintentionally for his later salted fish turnaround laid the foundation. This beggar is the founder of the beggar's 7th generation of Hong Qigong's heir, Hong Rixin. Su Chan met the beautiful Rushuang girl in the brothel. Miss Rushuang is the daughter of the former leader of the beggar gang. In order to avenge her father's murder, she lurked in the brothel on purpose. She sells her art in the brothel, but not her body. Su Chan fell in love with Miss Rushuang at first sight. Before he could talk to her, it was preempted by Zhao Wuji, the head of the Tianli sect. In order to get the girl, Su Chan offered 100,000 taels of silver. A client next to Zhao Wuji took out a pearl. Su Chan went forward and slapped the pearl into powder. The John used the mantis fist to beat Su Chan. Su Chan loved to fight. After a few rounds, Su Chan won easily. While Su Chan was being pleased with himself, Zhao Wuji made a miraculous move of shifting. He shook away Su Chan's hat. At that moment, General Su came to help his son. The John took out a token. Turns out the John was the emperor's uncle. General Su, who could not read or write, grabbed the token. He didn't take the John seriously. The king did not dare to fight with General Su in Guangdong. He had to give in. For this reason, the two sides became enemies, also disrupted the revenge plan of Rushuang. Su Chan revealed his feelings to the girl Rushuang. He asked the girl Rushuang, what kind of man can be her husband? In order to make Su Chan back off, Miss Rushuang, she said a request. Miss Rushuang said that her husband must be the best in martial arts. He must be a martial arts champion. Rushuang asked if Su Chan could do it. Su Chan thought for a while and said he could do it. He could easily get the martial arts championship. He asked Miss Rushuang to give him a time for marriage. Miss Rushuang said to Su Chan that, when you have done it, come back to me. Su Chan learns that the Rushuang girl has gone to Beijing. Su Chan also decided to go to Beijing to take the martial arts examination. The exam requires a written test first. General Su bought off the examiner. Su Chan passed the written test after a good sleep. After the written test was the martial arts competition. Su Chan successfully passed the first two competitions. He came to the third match, the weapons test. General Su saw the examiner. General Su was astonished to see the examiner. It turns out that the examiner for the third game was the John that the brothel met, the emperor's uncle. General Su even said, "It's over." Su Chan's weapons were replaced with sticks and a paring knife. His weapons were hacked off one after another by his rival, Bodar. Su Chan used the nunchakus. Su Chan won 2 games against Bodar. Bodar knew he couldn't beat Su Chan. Taking his chance, he released his dart. Su Chan quickly fell backward, caught the dart with both feet and threw it. The dart ricocheted into Bodar's s. Bodar was poisoned to death. It turns out Bodar's darts are poisonous. Su Chan won the victory. He became the scholar of martial arts. The emperor himself made Su Chan the scholar of martial arts. Zhao Wuji reported to the emperor that Su Chan had cheated in the written test. The emperor tested Su Chan on the spot and he asked Su Chan to write out his name. Su Chan admitted that he couldn't write it. The emperor was furious. The emperor, in his anger, took all of General Su's family assets back to the state and punished General Su and his son, making them beggars for life. They were punished to beg for the rest of their lives. Since then, Su Chan father and son no longer have the glory and wealth. At first, Su Chan could not let go of the face of the young master of the Su family to go begging, but their life in Beijing became more and more difficult, and they wanted to earn money to go back to Guangdong. Father and son had to sell their art on the street. That day, while they were selling their art on the street, Zhao Waoqi came. They got into a fight after a disagreement. Su Chan was no match for Zhao Wuji. Zhao Waoqi broke Su Chan's bones, he destroyed Su Chan's kung fu, so Chan could no longer use martial arts, so Chan could only be a beggar for the rest of his life. General Su carried the wounded Su beggar on his back to seek medical help. A general from Guangdong, with a family fortune of hundreds of millions of dollars, he was dragged by his son to become a beggar. Without a word of complaint, Chan still tell other beggars about Su Chan's heroic past. Su Chan has been beaten into a cripple by Zhao Wuji, he can only lie down as a whole. In order to support Su Chan, General Su, he went out on the street to beg for money when he walked in the crowd at the moment, but he used his hand to block his face. General Su also has self-respect, but he pretended to be indifferent in front of his son. General Su is getting older. In the winter, General Su fell ill. In order not to die of hunger, so Chan had to put aside his dignity to beg on the street. Su Chan knocked on the door of a household. The person who opened the door was Rushuang's sister. Su Chan turned around and left. Rushuang rushed after him. Su Chan blackened his face with charcoal ash. Rushuang recognized Su Chan, but in order to keep Su Chan's dignity, Rushuang told her sister that she had mistaken him for someone else. She asked her sister to give Su Chan some steamed buns. Su Chan, for the sake of a woman he loved, he moved to Beijing to take the martial arts examination. I didn't think that society and the officialdom were so sinister. His martial arts skills were gone, his family's fortune was also gone, father and son became beggars, and now the woman he loved saw him. Su Chan could not help but cry out. Su Chan saw a group of officials tying up General Su and walking forward. It turned out that General Su was hungry, he stole a child's cake and ate it. He was arrested by the officers. The officers recognized Su Chan, brought him dog food to eat. The officer said, as soon as Su Chan finished eating these dog food, they would let General Su go. Su Chan picked up the dog food and ate it. The officials pointed at Su Chan and laughed. General Su also squatted down to grab a bite. Su Chan saw a piece of meat in the dog food and shared it with General Su. Miss Rushuang came over. She was willing to take in both father and son. Su Chan turned and ran away. Su Chan father and son finally bowed to reality. They joined the beggar gang. But Su Chan still spent the whole day self-loathing, lying on the ground and sleeping all day long. General Su, in order to make his son become a man again, he locked him in a kiln with a dog, forced him to practice the dog beating technique. The moment the door was locked, General Su was in tears. Su Chan managed to climb out of the kiln. In order to catch General Su's dog beating stick, he fell into the kiln again. After Su Chan had studied hard and practiced, he has learned to write about the endless sea of suffering. On this day, Su Chan was dazed under a big tree. The old beggar Hong Rishin, who had been benefited by Su Chan in the brothel, came. Su Chan asked Hong Rishin to pay back the money. Hong Rishin said if he had money, would still be here to eat steamed buns. Even if the money is returned to you, you can't buy back your dignity, you can't buy back the woman you love. After hearing this, Su Chan stopped paying attention to Hong Rishin. He continued to lie under the tree and sleep. In order to repay Su Chan's kindness, Hong Rishin, he taught Su Chan the sleeping Luohan fist in his dream. Su Chan woke up and was surprised to find that he had recovered some of his martial arts skills. Zhao Wuji has been plotting to assassinate the emperor, in a vain attempt to change the dynasty. When Miss Rushuang sought revenge on Zhao Wuji, instead, she was controlled by Zhao Waoji with magic spells. Zhao Waoji turned Rushuang into an assassin of the Tianli cult. Beggar's gang is selecting a new gang leader. As long as someone can break the lotus flower formation, Su Chan easily broke the lotus flower formation. He became the new beggar gang master. The beggar's gang 9 bags elder Mo uncle will martial arts secret book descending dragon 18 palms and big potion handed to Su Chan. After Su Chan took the great elixir, his martial arts skills had fully recovered. Su Chan practiced the first 17 palms of the 18 palms of the dragon fall, but he could not learn the 18th palm. Su Chan learned that the girl Rushuang was captured by Zhao Wuji. He led the beggar's disciples to rescue Rushuang girl. The emperor leads his soldiers to hunt in the hunting ground. Zhao Wuji sneaks into the hunting ground. He offered the hypnotized Rushuang girl to the emperor. He used a spell to control Rushuang to assassinate the emperor. During the fight, Rushuang accidentally fell down. The officials and soldiers pounced on Rushuang. At the moment of crisis, Su Chan arrived in time. After Zhao Wuji saw Rushuang's failed assassination of the emperor, he killed the official soldiers with his own hands. After Su Chan saw Zhao Wuji, the hatred of the past came to the surface. Su Chan made the sleeping Luohan fist, then he struck Zhao Wuji with the 18 dragon subduing palms, but Zhao Wuji was unharmed. Zhao Wuji knocked Su Chan to the ground. The secret book of the 18th dragon subduing palm fell down beside Su Chan. The gale blew away the secret book. After Su Chan saw the secret book blown by the wind, finally, he understood the mystery of the 18th palm. It turned out that the 18th palm was the fusion of the previous 17 palms together. After Su Chan made the 18th palm, Zhao Wuji was beaten into dust. Su Chan saved the emperor's life. The emperor rewarded him. The emperor said to Su Chan, "Your beggar's gang disciples tens of millions, I can't sleep every day." Su Chan replied that, "How many disciples of the beggar's gang is not decided by me Su Chan, but by the emperor you decide. If the emperor you are really wise and wise, the country will be governed in a peaceful and trouble-free. The people can live and work in peace and happiness. The ghost is willing to be a beggar." These words of Su Chan make the emperor understand the Chinese people do beggar is forced by life. The emperor also understands that even if the Chinese people do beggar have a love of the country and love the emperor's heart, even if the emperor of China is a beast worse than a pig or dog, the Chinese people will never oppose the emperor because he is a beast of burden. The Chinese would only oppose the emperor if they had no way to live. The emperor gave Su Chan a golden rice bowl for begging. From then on, Su Chan and the girl Risheng were married to each other. They had many children. Su Chan begged with a golden rice bowl, living a happy begging life. That's it for today's Ancient Chinese Swordsman movie. Thank you friends for watching. If you like it, please like and subscribe. I will continue to bring wonderful ancient Chinese swordsman movies to my friends.